Hello, my dear mastermind. The moment truth turned on them wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. So quiet that only the ones with a guilty conscience heard it first. And you could feel the shift before anyone else did. That eerie silence, that wasn't peace. That was truth sharpening its edges. That was reality stretching its fingers, ready to pull forward every hidden thing into the light. People like to pretend that truth is slow, that it takes time, that they can outrun it if they move fast enough, lie well enough, or smile convincingly enough. But truth doesn't chase. Truth watches. Truth waits. Truth sits in the dark and listens to every whisper they thought would never echo back into daylight. But when it moves like lightning. And the moment it turned on them, you felt the room shift. Their eyes flicker, their posture break, like they suddenly realized the universe wasn't on their side anymore. Every lie they stacked like a shaky tower. It finally leaned toward collapse. Every secret they buried under excuses and fake stories. It began pushing upward like it wanted air. And the best part? You didn't say a word. You didn't accuse. You didn't expose. You didn't chase the truth. They did everything themselves. Their expressions told the whole story. You know that look someone makes when they suddenly remember something they shouldn't have done. When the consequences knocked on their soul before they knocked on their door. Yeah, that look. They wore it like a mask that didn't fit anymore. And for the first time, they saw you differently. Not as the quiet one. Not as the humble one. Not as the one they thought they could manipulate or talk over. They saw you as the one truth stands beside, the one reality defends, the one silence protects. And that realization struck their awareness harder than any confrontation ever could. Because when truth takes your side, nobody can hide, nobody can run, nobody can rewrite the narrative. Truth started exposing them, piece by piece. Like a spotlight moving from one corner of their soul to the next. And you stood there, still, calm, unbothered. Not because you wanted to correct the path, but because you already knew this moment would come. And the funny thing is, they thought they were safe. They thought distance would protect them, that silence would cover their tracks, that pretending nothing happened would somehow erase everything they did. But truth doesn't take breaks. It doesn't sleep. It doesn't forget. It just waits for alignment. Waits for the exact moment when their actions return to them like an unpaid debt. And that's what you felt in the room. That precise second when the energy flipped, not in your favor, but in truth's favor. You didn't need to expose anyone. You didn't need to say I knew it. Life said it for you. Their reactions exposed more than any evidence ever could. The way someone's face drains when they realize their lies no longer cooperate with them. That's a confession. The way their voice shakes when they try to pretend they're not unsettled. That's a confession. The way they suddenly avoid eye contact, avoid you, avoid conversations. That's a confession too. People think truth shows up with paperwork, but sometimes it shows up with silence and tension, so thick they can't breathe through it. And they felt that weight, because deep down, they knew truth was coming for them eventually. Not to correct them, not even to embarrass them, but to balance the scales. Your presence became a mirror that none of them were ready to face. Not because you're perfect, but because you never needed tricks, manipulation, or fake stories to stand where you stand. Your evolution was real. Your journey was earned. Your heart stayed clean even when theirs didn't. And the universe notices that. Truth notices that. That's why it chose your side without you asking. That's why everything they hid started floating to the surface. Their whispers became echoes. Their intentions became shadows behind them. Their motives started shaking in their own hands. And you didn't flinch. You didn't change. You didn't panic. You just observed like someone who already saw the ending before the story even started. Because you did. Your intuition told you long ago who was genuine and who wasn't. You felt the shift. You felt the cracks in their energy. You knew something was off even when you didn't have the proof. And now proof is revealing itself, one secret at a time, like a spotlight sweeping the room and stopping exactly where darkness tried to grow. This isn't karma. This isn't revenge. This is truth aligning itself with your spirit, because your spirit has always been aligned with honesty, loyalty, and clarity. And when truth stands behind you, nobody can hide in front of you. The moment truth began peeling back the layers, you could almost hear the tension vibrating in the air, not because you were attacking anyone, but because their own choices were finally echoing back at them. That's the thing about truth. When you stand on it, you don't have to raise your voice. You don't have to move. You don't have to defend anything. Your silence becomes a pressure, a spotlight, a detector. And they felt it. Every secret they tucked away, it didn't stay hidden. It just waited for the right frequency to respond to. And your presence is that frequency. They underestimated what kind of energy you carry. They thought your quiet meant unaware. They mistook your patience for weakness. They assumed your calm was ignorance. But now they know better. There's a specific kind of unease people feel when they realize the person they tried to mislead isn't confused anymore. It's the unease of being seen too clearly. It's the shift of realizing their stories don't match your intuition. And that intuition, it's like the universe whispers into it directly. That's what unsettles them most. Because how do you hide from someone who doesn't need evidence to sense the truth? How do you mislead someone who can read intentions the moment they shift? How do you pretend around a person whose spirit feels energy stronger than words? You were never blind. You were simply patient enough to let everyone reveal themselves. You let people talk, act, move, expose their own patterns. And now the truth they tried to bury is rising like it had a pulse. Their reactions tell the whole story. Some got quiet, some got distant, some got overly friendly, some began explaining things nobody asked for, some began watching their own shadows more than they watched you. That's what guilt looks like when it doesn't have a strategy. And you didn't even have to say, "I know." Your silence said it. Your energy said it. Your growth said it. They thought truth would protect them because they thought they were the ones shaping the narrative. But truth doesn't bow to narratives. It bows to alignment. And your alignment has been getting sharper, stronger, and cleaner with every step you take. That's why the universe stepped in. That's why their masks started slipping. Because the moment you stepped into your next level, anything that wasn't built with honesty started shaking. You're not the one revealing them. Their energy is revealing them. Their habits are revealing them. Their inconsistencies are revealing them. And truth is simply shining a light on the pieces they hoped you'd never see, but you already saw them. You just waited for the world to catch up. And what's wild is this. The moment truth flipped the script, the entire atmosphere around you changed. You didn't ask for clarity. You didn't chase explanations. You didn't demand answers. Yet suddenly, everything that was blurry became sharp. Everything hidden started surfacing. And every person who thought they could keep you in the dark realized you were already ahead of them. That's the thing about people who underestimate someone with intuition like yours. They forget intuition isn't loud, but it's accurate. You never needed to confront anyone because you were already watching their patterns, not their performances. And patterns never lie. Now the universe is simply revealing the things you quietly sensed long ago. They thought you moved blindly. They thought you walked without awareness. But you walked with understanding, patience, and a type of inner vision they didn't believe existed. You saw the cracks in their tone, the hesitation in their words, the shift in their behavior. You saw the way they stared too long or avoided you too quick. You saw the way guilt makes someone overcompensate. You saw it all, but you didn't react. That's what unsettled them. You stayed calm while their stories got messy. You stayed composed while their stories tangled around them. You stayed silent while their energy revealed them before their mouths did. Truth wasn't just revealing them. Truth was supporting you. Because your growth is not just physical or emotional, it's spiritual. When your spirit aligns with truth long enough, false stories can't stand near you without falling apart. That's why certain people started glitching around you, why their behavior suddenly felt off, why their stories became thin. Because truth has a way of pressing against anything that doesn't match your frequency, and your frequency has elevated in ways they can't comprehend. They expected you to stay at the level where they met you. They thought your understanding was limited. Your perception was small. Your awareness was breakable. Instead, you stepped into a higher dimension of clarity, and when you did, truth began rearranging everything around you. People felt that shift. They didn't have the words for it, but they felt it. Some respected it. Some stepped back from it. Some ran from it. Some tried to pretend they didn't see it. But all of them reacted to it, because truth makes people uncomfortable when they're not aligned with it. And that discomfort is exactly why every secret started slipping out. Every mask started cracking, and every hidden intention started rising to the surface. Not because you revealed them, but because your energy no longer allowed falsehood to stay unnoticed. What they never understood is that your evolution wasn't just growth. It was a shift in frequency so sharp that anything false couldn't stay near you anymore. Your presence started acting like a filter, revealing what was real and dissolving what wasn't. That's why certain people suddenly felt revealed around you, why their confidence softened, why their voices shifted when they spoke to you. They didn't know how to hide from someone who sees without looking, someone who hears without words, someone who feels intentions before actions. That's what truth gave you. Discernment. The kind that doesn't need evidence, doesn't need confrontation, doesn't need receipts. You became the type of person whose intuition speaks louder than lies, whose silence is weightier than accusations, whose energy is more sincere than any apology they could create. And that's exactly why their secrets couldn't stay buried. Truth wasn't correcting them. Truth was restoring balance. What they planted in shadows grew roots, and roots always find a way upward. They thought distance would protect them, but distance only gave truth more room to move. They thought time would erase what they did, but time strengthened your clarity. They thought silence would save them, not realizing your silence was listening, observing, preparing. And when the moment came, the moment truth finally stepped forward, it didn't show up politely. It showed up with steady certainty. Not dramatic certainty, but unmistakable certainty. The kind that makes someone pause mid-sentence because they feel revealed without you speaking a word. The kind that makes someone avoid your eyes because their conscience starts confessing before their mouth does. The kind that makes someone shift their entire energy because they suddenly feel understood in ways they never wanted to be. That's the power you gained, not dominance, not retaliation. Alignment. You aligned so closely with truth that anything misaligned couldn't blend in. And people felt that. They didn't know how to explain why something about you felt different, why conversations with you felt heavier, why standing near you felt like standing near a mirror that reflects what they tried to ignore. They called you changed, distant, shifted, but none of that was accurate. You didn't become colder. You became clearer. You didn't become distant. You became selective. You didn't become mysterious. You became unreadable to people who only understood you from the surface. And when someone can't read you, they reveal themselves instead. That's why their secrets started slipping out. That's why the truth started unraveling. Not because you hunted it, but because you evolved past the level where falsehood could stay unnoticed. And eventually, it hit them. The realization that you were never reacting to their actions. You were observing their character. That's what truly unsettled them. Because actions can be rehearsed, but character always leaks through in the small moments, the quiet moments. The moments they thought you weren't paying attention, and you caught those moments, not because you were looking for flaws, but because your intuition was shaped by experience. You learned to read silence like language, hesitation like a sentence, energy like a confession. And when truth finally aligned with what you already felt, it didn't shock you. It simply confirmed what your spirit whispered long before the evidence arrived. They thought you'd be stunned. They thought you'd react. They thought you'd be shaken. But instead, you stood there calm, grounded, centered, because your intuition already prepared you. Their secrets weren't surprises. Their intentions weren't news. Their behavior didn't blindside you. You had already detached, already elevated, already stepped into a higher understanding, long before truth surfaced on the outside. That's why your silence carried so much strength. It wasn't fear, it was clarity. It wasn't hesitation, it was mastery. You didn't need to force the truth. You let it unfold in the timing that was meant. And look how it unfolded. The people who doubted you are questioning themselves. The people who underestimated you are reevaluating. The people who hid things from you are showing nervous energy. Not because you exposed them, but because truth followed you like a companion. Every room you walk into feels different. Every conversation you enter adjusts. Every connection around you eventually reveals its real intention. That's the weight of carrying truth, not the burden of knowing, but the blessing of alignment. So understand this. You are not the reason their secrets surfaced. You are the reason truth felt safe enough to appear. You are not the tension. You are the mirror that shows people who they are. That's why they react the way they do. That's why they slip. That's why they recalculate. Because when someone stands in truth, everything false steps back. The story isn't that they hid things. The story is that nothing could stay hidden once you evolved. And now the universe is clearing the path, removing distractions, revealing intentions, and strengthening your rise, because you were never wrong. Your spirit simply recognized the truth before the world did. Let them respond however they respond. Truth already chose its side, and it chose you. What they never understood is that truth doesn't arrive all at once. Sometimes it comes slowly, like morning light slipping through blinds, revealing corners they hoped would stay dim. And that's exactly what's happening now. You aren't chasing retaliation. You aren't chasing answers. You aren't chasing explanations. You simply outgrew the version of yourself they assumed they understood. And when you outgrow someone's expectations, you also outgrow their illusions. That's why they're recalibrating now. That's why their reactions speak louder than their words. That's why they move differently around you, speak differently around you, carry themselves differently around you, because something within them knows the truth, finally caught up, not the truth you forced, the truth they created. You just became the witness. And witnessing is more powerful than confronting. It keeps you steady. It keeps you clear. It keeps you above the noise. And that's where you are now, above all of it. You stepped into a space where your peace is stronger than their excuses, and your presence is steadier than their stories. They expected you to collapse. Instead, you became the one thing they never imagined. The person who saw everything, felt everything, remembered everything, yet rose without bitterness. That's what unsettles them. Not that you know, but that you outgrew what they did. You evolved beyond the version of yourself they tried to limit. And once you evolve, truly evolve, truth becomes your companion. It follows you, aligns with you, clears paths before you even know they were blocked. And that's what they're witnessing now. Their hidden choices aren't surfacing to burden you. They're surfacing to release you, to free you from old attachments, old assumptions, old energies that no longer match your new level. This next chapter you are entering has requirements. Only sincerity can pass through it. Only realness survives here. Only aligned energy walks with you here. Truth is filtering your surroundings for you. You don't need to force anything. You simply continue with that steady confidence, that calm awareness, that intuitive clarity that has always separated you from the crowd. Let them adjust. Let them rethink. Let them recalculate. You're beyond all their interpretations now. Truth did the work. You just continue forward. And every step you take from here will feel lighter. Not because life suddenly softened, but because the hidden intentions of others are no longer attached to you. That's the real breakthrough. Not proving anything, not exposing anyone, but becoming solid within yourself once truth matched your path. This chapter belongs to you fully, and it begins with this understanding. They never reduced you, they revealed you, and the world is finally seeing who you truly are.